For tens of thousands of years, humanity started as hunter-gatherers in a long dawn. They roamed the world in small nomadic groups, living in tune with nature's rhythm. Survival needed sharp minds, deep knowledge of nature, and strong community bonds. They gathered around fires, told stories, drew their dreams on cave walls, and developed language and culture that would lay the groundwork for future civilizations. About 10,000 years ago, a big change happened in the Fertile Crescent of the Middle East. Farming was discovered. People learned how to work the land, plant seeds, and tame animals. This opened the door from living as nomads to settling down. Now, they could grow more food than they needed. This led to the first villages, and then the first cities. Like Catalhoyuk. Ideas about owning things, dividing work, and social classes started to grow. With the stability that farming brought, one of humanity's biggest leaps happened. In Mesopotamia, the Sumerians invented cuneiform and started writing down history. The Egyptians, with the gifts of the Nile, built grand pyramids and created a complex religion. These first big civilizations made things like laws, government offices, and organized religion. Then, in ancient Greece, philosophy, democracy, and science grew. Thinkers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle asked big questions about the universe and humanity's place in it, laying the groundwork for Western thought. Rome, taking over from the Greeks, built an empire like no other. With its amazing engineering, legal systems, and military power, it brought peace and stability to the Mediterranean area for many decades. But civil wars, money problems, and attacks from outside shook this huge structure. The fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 was a turning point for Europe. Central power was lost, and the continent entered a broken-up time known as the Middle Ages. While Europe was in a slow period, a new civilization was rising after Islam was born in Arabia in 610. During the Golden Age of Islam, cities like Baghdad, Cordoba, and Cairo became centers of science, philosophy, and art. Muslim scholars saved lost works from ancient Greece by translating them into Arabic and added new ideas. Their groundbreaking work in areas like algebra, optics, medicine, and astronomy carried the torch of knowledge that would later spark the Renaissance in Europe. By the 15th century, the world was on the edge of change again. The conquest of Istanbul by Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror in 1453 was not just the end of an empire, but also a sign that the Middle Ages were closing and the New Age was beginning. This event pushed Europeans to look for new trade routes to the east. In 1492, when Christopher Columbus reached America, the age of exploration began. The world map was redrawn, global trade networks were set up, and a never-before-seen interaction between different cultures started. The new knowledge from the age of exploration and the free thinking of the Renaissance sparked the scientific revolution. Now, the universe was understood not by old rules but by looking closely, doing experiments and using reason. Copernicus said that Earth was not the center of the universe. Galileo proved this idea by looking at the sky with his telescope. Isaac Newton, with his law of universal gravity, showed the rules that control how planets move. This revolution laid the groundwork for modern science and inspired the Age of Enlightenment. The Industrial Revolution, which started in England in the late 18th century, began one of the biggest changes in human history. With the invention of the steam engine, production went beyond what human and animal power could do. Factories grew, cities expanded quickly, and railways connected continents. While this new time brought amazing wealth and new technology, it also brought new social problems. Tough living conditions for workers, pollution, and unfairness in society. The 20th century saw humanity's darkest and most hopeful moments. 2 world wars caused destruction that was hard to imagine before, and cost tens of millions of lives. The Cold War brought the world to the edge of a nuclear disaster. But from the ashes of this destruction, a desire to keep peace and encourage countries to work together also grew. The United Nations was formed, human rights became a worldwide goal, and colonial empires broke apart, with new nations appearing. The competitive atmosphere of the Cold War sparked one of humanity's greatest adventures, the space race. This race reached its peak on July 20, 1969, when Apollo 11 landed on the moon. Neil Armstrong's small step onto the moon's surface was actually a giant leap for mankind. For the first time, we looked at our own planet from outside, as a pale blue dot in the silent vastness of space. This moment was the strongest proof of how far we can push our limits, and what we can achieve when we work together for a common goal. And here we are today. The digital revolution and the internet have turned the world into a global village, putting information at our fingertips. But this new age has also brought us to a new crossroads: the rise of artificial intelligence, the urgent threats of climate change, and the ethical questions of genetic engineering. Humanity is facing its biggest challenges and biggest chances yet. As we turn our eyes to the stars again, to Mars and beyond, our choices will write the next chapter of this long journey. The journey continues.